Yo, what's up? This is B to the B Hills, and this is B Hills live from the basement, brought to you by Worldwide Collaborations and Quality Music Management. We got a special guest today, Trill Will. So I'm sure everybody already, by this time knows who you are and stuff. But for the few people that are just getting familiar with you, let the people know a little bit about what you do.
Well, first of all, my name is Trill Will, aka Trillion. I am an artist slash mogul from D-Land, Florida. Born and raised. Um, I have a double residency in Atlanta. Co-owner of Worldwide Collaboration, COO of Next Level DJ Coalition, COO of which is Chief of Operations of Real Life Music. Also the owner of Black Executive Triad and the owner of GFM Empire as well.
That's
So
what's up.
that's what I do.
So what was it? What age were you whenever you start? Like first off, were you an artist first, or did you start off as an entrepreneur?
No, I fell in love with music when I was 5.
Oh, really? What were
Yeah,
some early?
I started playing the drums at 5. So you
Uh,
know what I
that's
mean?
that's dope. Yeah, I remember whenever I was a kid, I used to get like pots and pans and wooden spoons and shit, and make my own little drum
No,
sets. You know,
no,
I didn't have no
I
real
was
ones.
playing I was playing drums at church actually.
That's what's up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what age were you whenever you started getting into like writing your own lyrics and rapping? Did you start
Um,
freestyling first, or did you start actually just writing first?
um, I started. I would write poems and stuff, and then I ended up. I think I wrote my first song. I might have been like 10 or something. My
Yeah.
first 10 or 11, but 13 is when I started really like writing to like okay, one of these days I'm gonna like you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Really, you know what I'm saying. So,
So how old were you whenever you first actually recorded your first song?
gee, that's a good question. How old was I when I recorded my first song? I think I don't think I recorded my first song until I was like 18. I can't remember the exact day and time, but uh, it was like I was pretty young then. I was pretty young. I was like
That's what's up.
18. My dad
So
took me to the studio. Oh shit, I had always been around studios and stuff like that. And my dad was like, "All right, I'm gonna take you to the studio and you're gonna record." It actually he had me. He had a group called Deep South Players, and they had put their project out a few years prior. And I guess a couple of the guys ended up getting locked up and passing away and different things like that. And so he was like, "Look, I got this project," and he wanted me to basically add my verses to that project. And so that was the first thing that I ever did. Was I went in and I added my verses to that project and that he already had.
by that point, were you already like wanting to do it as a rapper, or were you still just like writing poems and stuff like that, or did you already transition to
No,
writing rap songs and stuff?
yeah, I was at by the time I did that, I was full fledged battle freestyle. I would freestyle. We did freestyle for a long time. I didn't. I wrote poems and stuff, but then I started freestyling. And I got real good at it, and I was like,
Yeah,
man, I don't need to write. But then all the OGs were like, nah, you need to write. You know what I mean? And then I got good at that. So over the
yeah.
years, so.
That's what's up. So
Mhm.
what are some of like your earliest inspirations to hip hop music? Like, what were some artists that inspired you whenever you were
Um,
like actually whenever you're younger, transitioning into being an artist yourself?
I mean, the first music that I heard that made me want to be an artist. Period, was Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah,
Thriller, um, Smooth Criminal. He had a
yeah,
movie, and he's crazy because Michael Jackson was the first artist I ever seen with their own movie,
yeah,
like a full production movie. Prince did it too, but I believe
yeah,
Mike did it first. But it don't matter. The point is that Michael Jackson was my first music influence as an artist, and then after that it was like LL Cool J. Um, the first real big one though was Snoop Dogg. I think
yeah,
yeah, when I seen Snoop and I heard what he did on Dr. Dre's The Chronic, and he came out with his album. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah.
For me. And then after that, it was Biggie. But it's crazy. But my first CD, even though I had tapes before this, my first
Yeah.
CD was actually Notorious B.I.G. Not Notorious B.I.G. but Method Man Tikal. And then
Oh yeah.
shortly after that, I got the B.I.G. tape. Actually, it wasn't even the CD that I got it at. It was actually the tape
Yeah.
after that, which
So
was a
so
long
where
time ago.
yeah. So where'd you grow up at?
Like I said, I'm born and raised in D-Land, Florida. At the
Oh, in
beginning of the
Florida.
land. Yeah,
That's
D-Land,
cool.
Florida.
So
Uh-huh.
how was it growing up out there in Florida? Because you live in Atlanta now, right?
Well, I got a double residency. I got
Oh,
a
okay.
house here and a
Okay.
house there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how long have you been out in Atlanta?
I moved to Atlanta initially the first time in 2018, and then I stayed there
Okay.
for like a year and a half. Moved back to Florida, got my shit together, and then yeah, and then I went to my brother Knox Bond out there again at the end of 2021. I want to say, yeah, at the end
Yeah.
of, or was it the end of 22? No, it was the end of 22. That's when I moved back out there again. I would say I moved out there from 18 to 2019, then like summertime 2019. Then I chilled out and then I moved back again, probably like around November 2022. That's when we started um, really like, all right, well, we're doing a lot of shit out here. We had a show. We shot a video for that video lit at KOD Atlanta. Shout out to KOD. Shout out to Eagle and shout out to Akinelli. I'm a big over there. And then I started being a part of the hip hop fraternity. Shout out to Pimpin' Ken, aka Ken Ivy. Yeah, man, and it just I've been locked in ever since.
So
Shout out to Young Jock too, by the way.
so what's the biggest difference between the music scene in Florida and the music scene in Atlanta?
Um, the biggest difference is probably the amount of artists. There's way
Yeah.
more artists in Atlanta
Yeah,
than
true that.
Florida. Um, but I will say this: Florida shows a lot more love to the artists. They appreciate the music a little more in Florida. In Atlanta, it's oversaturated, so you get people who are kind of jaded and have heard the people that they went to school with or the people that they go pick up their McDonald's and Domino's from is the best rapper and best singer they ever heard and seen in their life. So they're you know what I'm saying? So they're a little bit jaded in Atlanta due to the
Yeah.
oversaturation of artists and things of that nature.
So what was it that like what was it that made you want to make the transition in from being an artist to being an entrepreneur and having and doing other things? Like what was it that inspired you to do that?
My dad actually, before he ever took me to a studio to record, um, at 13, I believe, might have been a little younger. He uh he had me come up with my own name and he actually registered my first LLC when I
Oh, that's
was
dope.
like 13 years old. And he explained to me over and over again that an artist is the last to get paid in the chain. And he said, you want to be an executive because the executives get paid first. And if you're an executive and an artist, you'll have creative control over your own stuff. So he basically trained me to be an independent mogul from day one. So I had a label. It was called Pink Ice Productions, and I came up with the name. It was
Mhm.
called Pink Ice Productions, and I had my own LLC, music LLC, before I ever had recorded a rhyme. I had wrote rhymes and I had rhymes written, but I had never recorded a rhyme, and I had my own LLC. Yeah.
So what advice would you give like upcoming artists? Like what would be your first advice to give them?
Practice your craft, study the greats. Don't ever think that you're too good or too big to go back in history and listen to music that came out before you started listening to music or before you were even born. You always
Yeah.
want to go back and study the greats, the people who are considered to be legends, because there's a reason why they were legendary and they left a trail for you to follow. You know what I mean? You don't have to do exactly what they did, but
Yeah.
it would behoove you to study and understand kind of like where they were coming from and why they did the things that they did.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like, because it feels like it's always kind of been like that until now with newer artists, you know? Because it seems like the older artists always pay homage and stuff like Nas to Rakim, and everybody always paid not like homage to each other and stuff. But now it don't really seem like as much like that, you know? At least from my
Yeah.
standpoint.
Well, and there's a reason why that is. The reason why that is because the instant gratification in music, and not even music, but entertainment. See, back then, you had to record your song, get it mixed, get it mastered, and you literally had to go perform it for probably thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, if not millions, before you got a buzz. But see, now with the internet, and don't get me wrong, I came at the end of that, but I still caught it. You know what I mean? To where, I learned how to do real promo, like guerrilla promo, like hop out of your car, catch people at the stoplight. Here's my CD, here's my flyer.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
built character, and you built a respect for the people who were already superstars. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
built a deep rooted respect because you understood that they had to do that same thing that you're doing, right? And
Yeah.
so now today I can drop a new song that I haven't released on TikTok on Instagram, and it might go viral that same night, and I might be booked for shows 2 days, 3 days later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it kind of took out the work ethic side of it, if you ask me. And I think
Yeah.
that lessened the appreciation
Yeah, and I think
for
it, I
for
think it, I think it kind of waters it down too, because back in the day, like people had to really hustle and grind more. You know what I mean? Just like how you had to go pay for studios. So I'm like, I grew up in Houston, so like I caught the end with like Swisher House and Screwed Up Click, where people would be selling tapes out their trunk or at corner stores. So if you had like a Screwed Up Click CD or a tape or something or a Swisher House, it was like exclusive because you couldn't go to Best Buy and Walmart and get it. You know what I mean? So you had to
hell
guide
no.
it from them. You know what I mean? That shit. But now I feel like artists, it's more watered down because people, especially with like programs on your phones and stuff, how people be recording, everybody could be an artist. People could just, download the app, go in the bathroom and become a rapper. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Screwed Up Click, man. Swisher House. Shout out to Rap a Lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, No Limit Records. You know what I'm saying? The Prince family. Um, they laid the groundwork, bro, and that
Yeah.
shit, like the mixtape game and having, 8 Ball MJG, Suave House, all those independent labels, bro, that
Hmm.
really set the tone for what's going on now because
Yeah.
nobody understood the value and the importance of the groundwork they were putting down. They were
Yeah.
trying to make it so we could do the stuff that we're doing without a record label today. Because
Yeah.
before they could literally blackball you and they could
Yeah.
take away all your outlets because there was only one or two ways to get your music out.
Yeah.
And right now, today, we have unlimited amount of ways. Nobody can really blackball anybody. If the people
Yeah.
are attached to your brand, they're going to continue to rock with you.
Yeah.
Great
You can't.
example of that is the baby. The baby's a great example. They tried to blackball the baby. He's still
Yeah.
around. He's still
Yeah.
making plenty of money. Back in the day, he would have been screwed.
But
You
I
know,
feel like they can. But now it's like the smaller person's getting black belt with like shadow banning and shit like that. Because they can like make it where your post doesn't get seen as much as other people's posts if you don't, you know what I mean, follow along with everything. But a lot of that's just knowing the rules because you got to play along with the system with Facebook and all these different places.
well, I know what you're saying about shadow banning, and it does happen. But what I will say is, if you're a student of the game, right, and you study business models, right. Let me give you an example when I say business model, because somebody might not be familiar with that term. Um,
Hmm.
Burger King did not create their own business model. They literally copied McDonald's and what they did. So
Yeah.
they really didn't do anything innovative, but they still have made billions of dollars. So what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that if you follow the business model of successful labels, whether it be independent or major, you know that your goal should not be to have your material on a social media site that you don't own.
Yeah.
that should simply be a way to attract new fans or supporters and to get them to end up on your landing site, whether that's a website or a click funnel that takes them to your website where you're selling merch and other different products that benefit you. Um,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people miss that step, right? Because they just get complacent. Like me myself, I got over a million followers on Instagram. But if I just settled for just having that, then I probably would just be another person with them because there's a lot of people with a million followers. That's not even a big deal anymore, right? So,
Yeah.
but the thing is getting people to your landing page so they can support your brand and what you have, whether it's merch, music, or service or whatever it is. Yeah, and that's another thing. Artists need to know what you're selling, know your product. You know what I mean? Know your product and know your demographic. You know what I'm saying? And that's an important, super important conversations nobody wants to have.
Yeah. So you kind of answered my next question, but I was gonna ask you, so like for an up and coming artist, what would be your best advice for them to start bringing in revenue? But you kind of answered it, but if you want to, elaborate a little bit, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like
I mean,
like for a new artist, what would be the first thing that you would think, like for an artist, let's say it's not really working with the budget and they got like a buzz
mhm.
going and they're trying to take it to that next step to really like start getting their face out there, getting out there everywhere. You know what I mean? What would be the first, advice you would give them as far as like start bringing in revenue and stuff
I,
as an
I would
artist?
get I would get with a dope graphic designer and I would start designing my own merch, hoodies, t-shirts, hats, because that you can get that's you got their sites out there that you can with no cost to you set up where people can buy your merch and then they'll drop ship it to them. You know what I mean? You don't
Yeah,
even have to house the actual product or any of that. Um, that's something that I definitely would entertain. Um, for artists, I don't know, man. Right now it's so weird, man, because we're in a weird space where we're transitioning from even live shows um, taking a decline. I probably would say getting more into pay-per-view shows from your home. I mean, right now, man, we're in an unprecedented time. I like to look at what Travis Scott did with Fortnite. He had a whole concert in the Fortnite universe,
yeah,
unparalleled. Never happened before. I never seen it before. I think they said Eminem did it, might have did it before him, but I didn't
yeah,
see it when Eminem did it. I'm not. I used to listen to Eminem, but he does to me. He doesn't impact the culture the same way that
yeah.
like a Travis Scott did
Like I
when
mean,
it comes to that.
yeah, like I like Eminem homage for like what he did and old Eminem, but I'm just that like the way I feel like with rap is it's like just like how rock and roll started with like rock and roll and then it went into different genres, like heavy metal, like all sorts of shit, like I feel like rap's
Right.
kind of like that nowadays, like there's different genres of rap, and
There
Eminem's just
is.
like a different kind of genre, that's not it doesn't really appeal to me, but I'm not saying that he's not good though. That's just my own personal, you know what I mean? But
Man,
there was a time though that I did though. There was a time that I thought he was the greatest. I just don't really his music don't really be doing it like that for me nowadays though.
so before the stands get on me, I have to say at one point in time, Eminem was my favorite rapper. You're talking about 2002 though. You're talking
Yeah,
about like You know, my favorite Eminem rhyme was I sit back with this pack, is it bag, it is zag, it is weed, it gives me the shit needed to be the most meanest MC on this earth. And since birth, I've been birthed with this curse, and just cursing, this blurt, this berserk and bizarre shit that works. I know that whole verse, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
I feel like he fell in the category of honestly, he was too good for his own good, meaning that technically he was superior to everybody else, but I think that the things that he talked about kind of separated him from a whole generation of people that came
uh-huh,
later. Talking about stuff dealing with his mom, and he choosing to diss like pop stars like Mariah Carey and weird
yeah.
shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like he did a lot of weird shit that was off brand, but as a
but if you think
rapper,
But think about it, like who did he really go after that wasn't like that? The hardest person he really Gotti, like
I don't
which
think
because think about most of the people he beefed with that in his songs, he'd always be talking shit about NSYNC or Limp Bizkit
That's what I'm
or
saying.
you know, the Britney Spears.
Insane clown posse. I mean,
Yeah, like
bro,
he never. Yeah, he like made fun of safe people that nobody cared about. Like he was like, the
yeah,
culture's not gonna care about these people. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I
Basically, you know.
mean, but I have to say, I understand why he kind of did that because he was operating from a space of entering a culture that was already not accepting of a white rapper. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
Vanilla
definitely.
Ice kind of ruined that,
Do
for
you do
people.
you do you think that if he didn't get co-signed by Dre, do you think that he could have became like who he is?
Could have, yeah, because impossible is nothing. Anything is possible, but would it have
Yeah,
been as likely? I'm gonna say no. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
Dr. Dre at the time, people were wanting new shit from Dre, and it just was perfect timing.
yeah. And at the same time, I kind of feel like, you know, in a way, Eminem. I want to say Eminem saved Dre's career, but Eminem like made Dre like known to a lot of people that probably wouldn't have known Dre. Like a lot of those Eminem fans, those young girls, like all them, you know what I mean, people, they wanted to put Dre in the spotlight as high on a pedestal, I feel like, if it wasn't for him. So they both like helped each other, I feel like, you know?
What he did for Dre was he extended his career. He extended his reach to a whole 2, 3 generations of people that probably would have missed it.
Yeah,
Because that the style of rap that he was producing for prior to that, it was fading. You know what I'm saying? And then
yeah,
Eminem kind of came along and gave it the new breath. Um, when that's the light of the pop star, because with him being Caucasian, that kind of gave him the edge on the pop side. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And it kind of gave him, and because Chronic 2001 was arguably Dr. Dre's arguably the best album ever. I mean, Chronic 2001, Get
yeah,
Rich or Die Trying, Thug Motivation 101 by Jeezy. These are like epic. Outcast, AT Aliens, or Cormani, depending on who you talk to. These are epic. Sounds. He helped Dr. Dre create a whole sound.
yeah.
That lasted a few eras that he would have been gone.
Yeah. So back into like music and stuff, what projects do you have out right now for people like, I mean, that just now get familiar with stuff? What projects do you have out that they could go listen to?
I got a few projects out, but I would suggest GFM and GFM2. Them two kind of give you an idea of who I am as an artist. But the project that I'm about to drop next month, Chief of All Chiefs, is going to trump both of those easy. But definitely, you should definitely go check out GFM and GFM2 on all streaming platforms. I got tons of videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Dope. I can't even name all of them. I got a bunch of dope.
Yeah, dope's a
Overdue.
badass song. And that video, like that song and that just the name of the song describes the song and the video, because it's just dope. Like for real, like that dope music video is dope as fuck. That's
Yeah.
all you can really explain
Yeah.
it. Everybody go check that out. So what do you have a date whenever Chief of All Chiefs is coming out?
I don't have a date, but I'll know more after this weekend. I'm gonna say probably late March. I'll probably say right around spring break when the college kids are getting ready to go to spring break. It's gonna be dropping. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be good timing because I'm gonna use that whole spring break culture to push it. Because I live 30 minutes from Daytona in Florida. I
Yeah,
mean that's the spring break capital of the world until like recently. I think Miami Beach and then obviously Panama. They kind of
yeah,
caught up a little bit, but yeah.
hell yeah. So do you got any features coming on that track or on that new album?
Yeah, I do, man. I got a song. I got a couple features on there from lesser known artists like um 819 Baby. That's one of my artists under the GFM Empire Badass Savage Life label. And then I got I got two features from free band Bezo. The whole project is produced by hitmaker RJ, which is the first time I really locked in with one producer. There's only one song on there that he didn't produce, and that's the song that I got on there with Boosie Badass. Uh, yeah, man, that's pretty much it.
That's what's up. So what other projects do you got in the works that you can talk about? You got
Uh,
coming up?
I'm I've been doing a lot of film. So 11 film. Shout out to Star and Star's Pen. Um,
I'm actually
you
having
know,
her on the show tomorrow. She's gonna be on here tomorrow.
right stuff.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
11 movie. I'm on the Wet Sit TV series. Um, just I've been doing a lot of film, man. A lot of film stuff. I got a reality series coming out called Get Rich or Try Again. It's going to
hmm
highlight all the underground artists that have been steadily going and improving and building up motion for years that never gave up. You know what I mean? I feel like get rich or die trying. Dying is not really an option, and giving up is not really an option. So I felt like Get Rich or Try Again was an appropriate title, something that I embody myself, and I really
yeah,
want to speak to the people on what I've been through. You know what I mean? And obviously, I want to highlight myself, but also other artists that have been due props and credit and salute them, because a lot of times the artists don't get seen because their story's not as known. And so I
yeah,
really want to highlight the artists, the touring, but also mainly and most importantly them as a person.
yeah,
The stuff that they go through behind the scenes that people may not be aware of. The
yeah.
things that you have to sacrifice to be an artist and to continue to be an artist, even though you might have family, you might have kids, you might have this and that going on. It's a sacrifice, and anybody who takes that road to sacrifice, I gotta show respect to that. I gotta show respect to that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I feel like a lot of times like it's more like they want to know the artist personally, you know what I mean, and feel like they know, you know what I mean. It's not like how it used to be whenever artists were kind of put on a higher pedestal and shit, and we didn't know nothing about them. Now it's like people. It's like an obsession to know everything about artists, and because everybody does got their own story and stuff, to tell. You know.
Yeah, and that's another thing that artists can do that are looking to transition into becoming a full time artist. Monetarily. Is one of the best things that I did was create a podcast. Honestly,
Yeah.
and even though I don't necessarily per se just talk about my music on there or just my life, but it allowed people to get an insight into my thought process.
Yeah, and kind of get to know you on a personal level and stuff, and know you as a person instead of just like a logo, photo on an album cover or you know what I mean, a video and stuff. Actually
Right.
know you personally.
Right.
So yeah, so what I forgot what I was gonna ask you. Oh yeah, so let's talk about worldwide collaborations a little bit. For the people that are just like interested or just hearing about worldwide collaborations. What's Can you tell the people a little bit about that and and how
Yeah, look
you?
at that. Look at them bracelets. That tell you all you need to know. Worldwide collaboration, worldwide collaboration, worldwide collaboration.
Yeah,
That's it.
major shout out to Christopher Lee Cheney for sure, for
Shout
sure,
out to
for sure.
Christopher Lee Cheney for sure.
Yeah,
Okay, so worldwide collaboration is a movement of movements. It's thousands of movements moving together. Thousands of companies and corporations working together. Thousands of people internationally working together, and it's a family. www.cfam.com. That website is definitely going to propel us to the next level. I'm the co-owner of Worldwide Collaboration. Some really, really, really dope people that I met through Worldwide Collaboration. Um, it's hard to explain because it's not really. It's kind of like Al Qaeda. You remember how after like 9/11 they came out with ISIS and they would knock off splinter cells. The Worldwide Collaboration is kind of like ISIS.
yeah,
We're all over the place, and you really don't know like where all we're at until we activate. And it's like so many of us, and we
like
all have
sleeping.
different companies. Yeah, we all have different companies, corporations, shell companies, so you're never going to be able to identify everybody that's worldwide collaboration. You probably, everybody probably knows two or three people that's worldwide collaboration, but they don't even know it. You know what I'm
Almost
saying?
like
Like,
Fight Club. Like remember they'd be like walking around in movie Fight Club and they'd be all beat up just looking at each other out in public. Like they don't say nothing. They just give each other that
right,
look like,
right.
keep on moving and shit.
Yeah, for real.
So what
So,
would be, or go ahead, my bad.
no, you good.
Okay, so what would be like what do you think's the best way for an artist to really get exposure? Because we mentioned how like there's so much going on. There's so many like the games, there's so many artists and stuff like and you said like your podcast and stuff, but like but do you think that an artist can so because this is what I was gonna ask you earlier, because you mentioned about doing like shows online and stuff, which
Hmm.
that really like is a good ass idea. Because I was thinking about it, I was like, man, that is because you could just do rooms and stuff like almost just like how they have like it'd be cool. I don't want to give, but it'd be cool if they had like something like how like OnlyFans, but for rappers. But it wasn't like you taking off your clothes. It was just like where they could go and see and watch your shows and shit, like almost like how we be doing lives and stuff. You know what I mean? But it was like it'd be more like intimate for the fans. You know what I mean? And doing
So,
shows.
right. So just to not to cut your wisdom, but to kind of give you insight. That's why I mentioned wwcfam.com was because on our website, obviously you have to be tier 2 to have full access to our website. You can go on there, anybody can go on there, but to have full access to our website, you have to be tier 2, which I believe is $10 a month. Well, for $10 a month, you'll be able to, as an artist, be able to set up your own, basically your own OnlyFans for artists or any business on there and have a subscription-based service right
Yeah.
on WWC Fam. You can go live on wwcfam.com. We have meetings like Zoom or right on our website, everything, and that's really the future. We're really the future of not just social media, not just entertainment, but we're the future of communication. We're the future of business. We're the future of just period. We're just the future. And
Is
yeah,
it
so
is it
that's important.
is it set up so the artists can create revenue too? Like people like buy tickets to watch them in their own rooms, or is it just set up so like all the people in WWC can just go in each other's rooms?
It's set up to where anybody who once you set up a subscription based service, basically what they would do, let's say, and they can pick the price, but I'm just going to pick a number. Let's say Bhillz, you had a subscription based service, and the artists, what people would pay $30 a month to watch
Hmm.
all of your content, and that would include your live streams, and stuff of that nature. So anybody can go on there, and everybody's going to be able to see it. When you go live,
Yeah.
it's going to be on the internet. It's not just the people on WWC Fam. We're not cutting anybody's reach. If you put it out, everybody's going to see it on the website. And once you share it out, it's going to, whoever you share it out to, they'll be able to see it. That's where social media comes in handy at, because then you actually have something, you have a platform, and then you can platform your platform on other platforms. Kind of like
Yeah.
me and you are doing right now. I have my own platform. You have
Yeah.
your own platform. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm using your platform to platform my platform. And that's it's a
And
similar cross
yeah.
promotion.
Yeah, just
Thing.
like I'm doing the same thing. So I want to talk about your platform, but before that, because I don't want to forget about what I'll. Can you go ahead and tell the people about the different tiers, plans and stuff y'all have? Because don't y'all got like a 5, 10, 20, and a 50 or something?
5, 10, 20, 50. And basically, and right now we're just concentrating on the first two, because I believe I'm the only person that's donated more than, $50 to WWC. But obviously I'm one of the owners. I really don't count, right? But I just like
Yeah.
to lead by example. So basically tier 1 is $5 a month. Tier 2 is $10 a month. On tier 1, you get a Facebook post, a Facebook story post to promote whatever it is you'd like. You get one free graphic. You get to submit your music to WWC Fan Radio. and all this other great cool stuff. You get, in tier two, you get 2 graphics, 2 submissions, and just double of everything on tier two. The good stuff comes in tier three. That's when we really kick in the bonuses, and we try to tailor fit each package to what the person does. Like if you're just a business owner, you're not an artist, we're not just going to give you a bunch of submissions to stuff that you're not going to need. We're going to give you stuff that you need. Like we might activate our other. We have over a 5 million user reach on all platforms. So what we would do is I would take it upon myself to share out, their stuff onto my platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. We're on TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well. Trill Will 9 on TikTok. Trill Will Israel on Instagram. Trill Will Israel on Twitter or X. Yeah, man. So that's basically what we're doing, man. We're just adding value. For a long time, we offered all our services for free. Unfortunately, we weren't able to sustain that because we were spending money to help people, which is cool. But we just feel like it's more than enough value that we're adding. We're actually, I dare you to find even one graphic for $5. Never mind getting a graphic of a Facebook post on the story and and all this other stuff, submission to radio, that thousands of people are going to hear. We have a minimum of 10,000 members on Worldwide Collaboration, wwcfam.com. It speaks for, the numbers speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to oversell it because there's really nothing to sell. We're really underputting our own value by offering it at that price.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So let's talk a little bit about your show and what time, like when does your show air? I mean, I obviously know, but for the people that don't, what time does your show air and what day?
Every Wednesday, 3:30 to 4:30 is the usual normal time. Sometimes you have outliers. We might roll until like 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Some days. We are adding a new day. We're gonna do the Trillion show, KOD Mondays, KOD edition on Mondays, probably starting in March. I just got the phone call today about my first guest. It's gonna be pretty interesting. KOD is King of Diamonds, Atlanta. That's gonna be pretty dope. Which is a strip club / restaurant. KOD Industries. Shout out to Eagle again, Eagle Ave and Akinelli. So every Wednesday for the Trillion show which is on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, but also on Mondays we're going to start doing that at the end of March, probably coinciding with my new album that's going to come out. It's going to be pretty interesting.
So what's going to be, if any, what's going to be the difference between the Trillion show, the regular one that airs, and then the KOD edition?
To put it simply, celebrities.
Okay.
You're going to have more high-powered celebrities on there. I've had some pretty well-known and notable people on the Trillion show on Wednesdays, but Mondays, anybody who knows King of Diamonds, KOD, they're known for their celebrities who come through there at King of Diamonds. You listen to me.
So you actually going to be doing the show from King of Diamonds?
Sometimes I will be doing it from the King of Diamonds. I've already done the show at King of Diamonds before on Wednesday. I've actually done that a couple times already. So sometimes I'm going to be there. Sometimes I'm going to have my guy Eagle there holding it down, getting the celebrities on camera from the King of Diamonds, depending on where I'm at. Because it's all about business, you know what I mean? It's a business model. So if I have to be on the road, if I'm getting paid for a show, obviously I'm not going to be there if I have to be somewhere else. But it's just another way to give back to the people, give them more content, give them more ways, more people that can see. If they want to advertise on my show, more celebrities are going to see their stuff, their videos. You know what I'm saying? We're going to offer packages where they can pay $50 and, we're going to play their video while the celebrity's on the show. You know what I mean? All kind of stuff, man. It's going to be really dope.
Yeah, that sounds dope. So is there any other upcoming projects or anything that else you want to discuss? Anything else you want to discuss?
Man, just keep an eye out, man. To be honest with you, man, because it's day to day. Things are changing, evolving. We're working on wwcfam.com website. You can go to trillwill.org to see a lot of my videos. You're curious as to what press but just curious to see what platforms I've been on as far as the press and otherwise. You can go on there and see some of my art. I think what 3 times. You know what I'm saying? 2 million, 1 million, 1 million. Yeah. So
That's dope.
I don't
Yeah,
know, man.
I see all
It's
that.
just a way. It's just a way to keep everybody in the loop. I kind of Facebook. I'm kind of trying to get back into promoting on Facebook a little bit because for a while there we were abandoning Facebook, but we're
Yeah,
getting back on that trend because they've changed some of their algorithms and stuff. So
yeah.
just like I said, I'm always evolving, always new projects coming up. Shout out to Johnny Trittman and the guys over there working on the Book of Dreams. Shout out to
So
Ninja, the guys who are working on Off the Grid Universe. Um, Shout
could
out
you
to
talk
the Dream.
about? I didn't know because I didn't want to ask, but since you brought it up, could you talk about any of that, or do you want to keep that hush hush? But could you talk about any of the comic book and Book of Dreams and any of that, or
I mean, there's really not much to talk about other than the Book of Dreams is a book about real people who just happen to have a comic book, um, such as myself. And then Off the Grid is like a collage of different things. It's very complex. These are interactive comic books and books. I know Book of Dreams is actual book. That's also going to be multiple other things wrapped into one. It's very difficult to explain. It's easier to show somebody than it is to explain. But these
yeah?
are interactive comic book slash movies slash web series slash everything else you can think of. Um,
So so
yeah.
did you grow up reading comic books and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. My dad would tell me, "Don't go on my comic books," and I would go right in there and read all the comic books. So yeah.
So what were some early inspirations from of comic books that you kind of drew from to create your character? Because your character is Black Phoenix. For people, can you tell people a little bit about like him and stuff like that? Like where the name
Um.
came from, where the whole idea came from?
Well, for the name or for the
Just
concept
the just
of the
the I
show.
mean, well, not the concept of the show, but just the concept of your character, basically. Like where did you
Okay.
know?
Well, okay. So that's a. I'm gonna try to make it short, but so the Black Phoenix character originated in 2006, about 2 days before Halloween 2006. I actually a lot of people don't know this story, but I actually overdosed um, that day, 2 days before Halloween, and I was speedballing heroin and I believe meth it was, and cocaine too. So I overdosed, and then I threw up blood for 24 hours. Woke up on Halloween like I'm never doing that shit again. I threw up blood every hour on the hour for a whole day. Um, and I'm very tapped in with my ancestors. I'm very spiritual. I'm not religious at all, but I'm very spirious, very spiritual. Only thing I do religiously is my music. I do that religiously. This means repeatedly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So anyway, long story short, I had a vision, and I was told that Black Phoenix, that was the name that I was to run with, and I created my first rap group using that name, Black Phoenix. So it's been pretty much copywritten and trademarked since 2006. Um, and so that's kind of where that came from. Black Phoenix is an acronym: Better Learning and Collective Culture for Enterprising National Youth Exposure. That's BLACC space FENYX. And so that day that character was born that day.
Did you
Now, as
think of?
far as
Oh no, go ahead.
yeah, the acronym came with the name. Yeah.
But did you think of that? So did you come up with all this whenever that night you were speedballing, or was it after? Like you came up with the
Uh,
acronym and everything,
no,
like all that
no. This
stuff.
is
This was
I didn't. All of that was after I came back to life.
so it's
Uh,
almost
I,
like it's almost like it was like whenever people like some happens to them, and then it's like they're reborn again almost, right? Because I mean that's kind of like what a
That's
phoenix
that's
is.
ex-
Like a phoenix is
that's
reborn, you know.
that's very accurate. Yeah, I definitely died, and I definitely resurrected, and that was definitely it. Because I never did another hard drug again after that day. So.
Yeah, that's what's up. So so is there? I guess you don't really. Y'all, everything is still just in the early work, so there's not really any dates, or is there any time? Like, can you give a estimate of whenever you think that like the your movie's coming out or anything? Is there any like what I mean info you can give us?
So the best thing I can say is shout out to my homegirl star, aka Radia Johnson. She's the author of a series called Wet.
Yeah,
Um, and it's
she's
also
actually
a book. It's also a book should be on tomorrow. I know we
okay.
heard you
I
say
know.
that. So
I didn't know if you heard
um,
me.
yes, sir, I did. But she is an I'm actually in her movie 1111. And so our characters, in the movie, I play myself. I played Trillion in the movie. Literally play myself. I'm an
Mhm.
artist, and it went so perfectly with the character Black Phoenix that what she's allowing me to do is to allow that to be part of my origin story, so to speak. Not necessarily origin, but part of my history. So me and her, she also had Tia Maji. Um, so she actually also has a superhero character, and her character on the Wet series, and which is the 1111 movie, is the origin of the Wet series. Um, we meet there on that movie, and that movie will be out by summertime. So that's gonna be the beginning. That's gonna be the genesis. That'll be the first time the world will get to see. It's gonna be on Netflix, Tubi, Hulu. I have a Roku upload portal myself personally, thanks to ETF, Elevate the Family. Shout out to Shakia and Ricochet. But so that's gonna be the origin of everything. Is gonna be this 1111 movie, and I'm sure you can ask her about that tomorrow, and she'll laugh, and she's not gonna give you much details. I probably told you too much. You know what
I
I'm
know.
saying? But
I didn't. I
that's
wasn't
gonna
even
be
gonna bring it up, but since you brought it up, then that's why I brought. That's why I asked you about it because I wasn't gonna bring it up, but I figured since you did, then I could. You know.
yeah. No, but she's much more strict about that stuff than I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give people just nuts because I want to connect. I want people to connect the dots. I want people to be curious. I want
Yeah.
people to ask questions. I want people to be waiting because once that comes out, it's gonna trigger a reaction. There's
Mhm.
gonna be a bunch of stuff like a domino effect after that. That's gonna happen. And so yeah, so that's where
That's
we're
what's
at.
up. Yeah, well, it sounds like you got a lot of stuff coming out and a lot of stuff going on for people to look forward to, and a lot of, what I mean, stuff going up with the movement and stuff. And I appreciate you being on here, man. I really do. You know what I mean? And I look forward to working with you, like, what I mean, the future worldwide collaborations and doing whatever. And if there's anything else you want to say, for, like, any shout outs or anything you want to give out or whatever you want to do, the floor is yours before we wrap it up.
Man, oh man, I got so many shout outs, man. I got to shout out Christopher Lee Cheney. I got to shout out Knox Bond, aka James Lomack. Um, next shout out to Next Level Syndicate. Shout out to Badass Savage Life. Shout out to my brother Derek Johnson. Um, Shout out to Webby. Shout out to Boosie, of course, the whole Trill fam. Shout out to Trey Savage, which is Webby's son. He's got a dope ass record with NBA YoungBoy with a video. That's he's a part of Badass Savage Life. It's so many people, bro. Shout out to I think I said Christopher Lee Cheney already. Shout out to the boss. Shout out to David Lipman. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Strokey Bobby. Shout out to the whole worldwide collaboration. If you want to donate, make a donation to me individually, you can send it to $IG rap promo. That's $IG RAP promo, PROMO. And if you want, if you want to make any other donations, you can make a donation to WWC fam as well through the website and through everything else. So that's basically it, man. I got a million people I shout out. Shout out the boss. I ain't gonna run out of people to shout out, bro. Shout out to
Yeah.
Young Tizzy. Shout out to the whole uh shout out to Seductive Pete. Shout out to Hector Guadalupe. Shout out to Noah Hobbs. Shout out to Band Aid. Shout out to Josh Muniz. Shout out to Javon Smith. Shout out to Johnny Tripman Jen. Shout out to everybody, man. Felicia Dawn. Kaiju. Shout out to Grappin' Grandpa. Shout out to everybody that's had anything to do with our coming up and advancement. Even the haters. Without y'all, I wouldn't be famous. Y'all made me famous. I appreciate it. Keep talking shit behind my back, man. That's just the greatest promo alive. Word of mouth advertisement is the greatest thing ever when it comes to
Yeah.
business and marketing.
For sure, for sure. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being here, and I want to give a shout out to Worldwide Collaboration and Quality Music Management. And anytime you want to come back on here, maybe whenever you get closer to dropping the projects, and you can tell us a little bit more about, like, you know, what I mean, give us a little more info. I would, you know, hope you come back up on here and stuff. And it was a pleasure and honor having you on here, man.
Man, thank you, man. It's been a blessing, man. I appreciate it, man. You're a great interviewer, man. Keep interviewing people, man. You're good at what you do, bro. I definitely fuck with it. You're a great rapper too, so you know, keep rapping as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back, man. I'll be back, bro. Your family, bro. You tied in, bro. Ain't no getting away. You can come back on my show anytime as well, bro. You know what I mean? I'll be watching you. All right, bro.
All right, man. Much love.
Much love, man. Salute. Shout out to